So Victoria, what is this first segment going to be about?
Yeah, so we decided the first part of the podcast will be like a strategy of the week, something that we can give you that's a little bit tangible, something that you can carry throughout your day and implement that and watch your marriage grow. So one of the things we notice with our marriage is having points of contact. So
You're talking about physical touch.
Physical touch.
Yes.
So the tip of the week would be to have 3 points of contact per day. That's at least. You can definitely have more once you practice to initiate those 3 points. But I'm saying for us, one of the things that we made sure to be intentional about is a kiss when you leave for work or going to the office. Of course, a kiss before bed. So that's already 2. But then throughout the day, sneak in a kiss. And then sometimes having that peck kiss, but then like maybe pulling it for a little bit more. And you'll be amazed to see how much more connection you experience with your spouse and just reassuring them, hey, I see you, I hear you, and I want you. And I think that's a lot of people's thing is like, hey, does my spouse still want me? Am I still sexy?
Right.
Do I feel like my spouse is paying attention to me? So making those little points of contact throughout the day really helps to build up that momentum even for, the bedroom.
But I think it goes deeper than that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that even if your love language is physical touch and maybe you are physical with your spouse, we can all get into seasons where we get caught up in the mundane everyday activities, taking care of the kids, going to work, coming home, making dinner, doing dishes. And by the end of the day, we haven't had much contact between our spouses, us and our spouse. And so what we're challenging you to do is to make sure you have 3 intentional physical points of contact throughout the day. I know for us, I don't leave the house in the morning unless I have kissed Victoria. And sometimes I'm in a rush, it's a short kiss. And other times I'll be very intentional about pulling her close and having a longer kiss, or she'll do that with me. And the kids notice it as well. They smirk or
They're
they
like,
laugh.
all right, that's too long.
Yes. And that's a good example for your kids too. But even if I'm running late, sometimes I'll try to pull in. What is 10 seconds in the grand scheme of things? Or what is 30 seconds to hug your spouse and show them that you care? When you get home from work, are you greeting your spouse? Or are you going about your business? Making sure you have a touch point right when you see them again. And then, of course, before bed, I always, even when we are mad, we kiss before we turn over and go to sleep.
It's a stiff kiss, but it's a kiss.
If we're irritated, but still, it may feel like a little bit OCD, but there's a psychology behind it as well. Victoria, you found some interesting research about that too, right?
Yeah, I read an article which was written by Berkeley Education. They did like a study about touch and they went into a lot of details, which was very interesting, but they went as far as from the very beginning when a baby is born, and they tell you how important it is for a baby to have like skin to skin contact.
Yes.
As soon as they are born, to kind of establish the scent of the mother, the scent of the father.
Right.
So that in itself already should tell you how important touch is, not only for the babies, but we see that with our children, as toddlers, and then of course as adults.
And I believe I've heard as well that basically whenever you hug someone, anybody, and pull away, there's a base level connection. If you hold that hug for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, if you hold it for a minute, there are different chemicals that are released. Dopamine levels are increased in your body whenever you're making that physical connection. One of the funnest things that was revealed during our Q&A session is the couple, Pastor Chris and Nita Daigle. They went through a season where they started every single day with a dance. She would wake up in the morning, music would be playing, and it didn't matter what they were going through, they would do a little dance. They would slow dance for a few minutes, and it began to change everything for their marriage. They began to draw closer with intimacy. I think their kids had just started moving out, so they were transitioning in seasons of their life. And so this is the strategy we want to give you guys this week, right?
And I just want to read this quick excerpt from this article. It says that touch builds up cooperative relationships. It reinforces reciprocity between our primate relatives who use grooming to build up cooperative alliances. So not only does the physical touch, it feels good, it makes you feel connected, but there's also like a mutual agreement that
Yeah.
happens, which helps you to cooperate together and do whatever it is that, you're trying to do as a family. And another paragraph, I love this as well. These studies showing that touch signals safety and trust. It also soothes. Basic warm touch calms cardiovascular stress. It activates the body's vagus nerve, which is intimately involved with our compassionate response. And a simple touch can trigger a release of oxytocin, aka the love hormone.
Yes.
Well, this is what Ryan was talking about.
Yeah, there's even couples who come into our office whenever they start getting heated in their argument. I'll stop it and I'll say,
Can you hold her hand?
yeah, hey, can you hold her hand? And all of a sudden their posture changes towards one another. They don't become as aggressive, and part of it is that they're not able to use their hands as much because they're like holding on to it. I mean, one of them might give them the death grip or whatever, squeezing that hand so tight, but it's effective. And this is a practical strategy that you can implement this week. Hey, if you start implementing these marriage strategies every week, we want to hear about it. Make sure that you text us 864-428-7131, or you DM us or comment on social media. In fact, you can find marriage strategies like this every single day on our Instagram and Facebook at MoreMostForever. So make sure you're following.
Yeah, and I would also like to add that at Moremost Forever, if you were not at the event, there's also the highlight tab, so you can go through and see the event, but also our resources and get your daily tips of the day, encouragement, reels that we're posting. So be sure to follow us at Moremost Forever.
That's right.